Hi everybody, this is Raw Cloud. This is part 3 to the previous video of my galactic journey being here on Earth. In the previous video I discussed about a negative timeline that I was going to be on, that the light and the dark was pulling me. And I was in this dualistic between good and evil, even as a child. And how I went back to the upper realms. So I went back to what they call the akashic halls. A lot of you may know about the akashic records, how it stores all of our information from previous lives to present life and on up to future lives. These akashic records have everybody information. And if you don't know anything about it, I suggest do your research on akashic records. But to get back to the story, I was 10 years old, and the upper realms, they summoned me back as a 10-year-old boy because I was on a destructive path. I was very disrespectful to a lot of the elders here on Earth, and my mom, she just didn't know what to do with me. So I ended up going back to the akashic halls. So I'm instantly in front of this palace. It looks almost like a castle. And I knock on the door and I'm greeted by a monk, older gentleman in a brown robe. And he welcomes me in. And I'm on the inside and it is huge. It's extremely huge. And he's walking me through these rooms, these doorways. And we come upon a library. This library is extremely massive. And the crazy thing about this library, it has books upon books. And they are stored from the floor all the way up into the clouds. And they are tall ladders that these monks can go up and down to put books or take books off within the clouds. And I'm just in amaze meant that these books are being stored. I mean, you could take all the books on Earth, every city, every town, all over the world, and they still would not compare to how many books are in that library. The knowledge within these akashic halls are massive. While I'm in this library, a part of me splits off. My higher soul splits off from me. And I'm looking at me, a part of my higher soul, take this book and begin to sit down at this table and read. This monk that was showing me around, he ushers me off. I guess I couldn't be there while my higher self is learning how to keep me on a positive timeline. So as I'm walking with this monk, I feel like I'm being rushed. But the monk, he's explaining to me that it's essential that my higher self had to come back and learn how to keep this young boy from being on a destructive path. It was something that my higher self had to do so that I don't end up somewhere in jail, in prison, or even worse. Because my contract here on earth is not just to live as a human being, to learn what it's like to be a human being, but as a guardian, my role is to protect. And it wasn't for the dark forces to manipulate me to be on a negative timeline. So as I'm being rushed, being ushered, and being talked to all at the same time, I look back at my higher self in this golden form, this golden aura around, which is essentially me. At this table and reading, it was very strange. So I wake up and I'm back in my bed. But I come back very different. I come back with a lot of respect. And as the days and months go by, I notice that I'm not the same anymore. You know, I'm respecting my mother. I'm respecting people around me. And I'm a little bit more at ease. And I began to, go to these martial arts tournaments. I'm able to focus more. And like I said, I began to become quite good. And I become an assistant instructor under my instructor. And we're teaching, the martial arts discipline. And I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. But even then, it did not stop the dark forces from trying to keep me from my initial mission. And as the days, months, and years roll by, I get older. And I'm growing as a young man. I notice that I'm able to remote view. At the time, back then, I didn't know what that word even meant, or the military use these terms. They call it remote view. Is when you can take your consciousness and they give a target. They call it a target. And these military personnels, the ones that have these gifts, they can give the coordinates to a specific location and see exactly what that target is just using their mind. They're able to project their consciousness out and see and view different locations. When I was young, I was doing it in a different manner. My consciousness would project out, and I can see, but I can also communicate with, the trees. I can communicate with birds. I can communicate with squirrels, all different types of animals. I can communicate with them. It was as if I knew their thoughts, I knew their feelings. And, but to test whether I was actually doing this, I would get these animals to do certain things. If it was a bird and it was standing still, just resting, I would ask that bird to flap its wings or to take flight. And they would. They really would. Or I would ask a squirrel to come up to me, and it would. Later in the series of videos, all of this would be let's just say it would be significant in the role that I would play here on Earth, even with the military. But I will save that, the military stuff, for later. I want you guys to get these videos from the beginning of these abilities and my role here. I want you to grow with me as I'm telling you about these stories. And if I miss something, I'll go back and, cover it. But we'll get back to me unlocking these abilities. And if I can see certain beings, then you better believe they can see me as well. And that was the scary part about it. And I will go through these series, like I said in the previous videos: sleep paralysis, where I couldn't move. And I remember this one incident, and I truly got tired of it. I wasn't afraid. The first couple of times it happened, I was afraid, because I couldn't move. I can only, see what was going on around the room, and I can see these shadows. And I can move my eyes, I can move my head slightly, but I just couldn't move my arms, my legs. I couldn't get up. So I'm going to tell you about this one time I began to fight back and what I saw. So at this age, I'm probably about 16 years old. I had already started working, as a young man. And I remember getting off from work, and I come home, I'm still living with mom. And I come home, and it's about 6:30, and it just began to get dark. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna take a nap, and I'm gonna get up and go out and have some fun, hang out with my friends. And at that age, I'm a young man. I'm into girls, I'm into dating, having fun, even at 16 years old. But like I said, I go home. So I go upstairs in my room and I lay down, and I'm laying down on my stomach this time. And it had to be like 30 minutes after, I fall asleep. I notice that something is on my back and I can't move. And I'm in this fight mode, you know. And I said, damn it, I'm tired of this crap and I'm going to fight and I'm going to continue to fight. So I'm pushing myself up off the bed. I'm on my stomach and I'm pushing myself up. And it is a struggle. Whatever this is, it is trying to hold me down. So I managed to get halfway up, like leaning back, and I turned my head just enough where I can look back behind me, and it is this shadow. It's this shadow on my back, and I can see this shadow with its mouth open, and it's in the shape of a witch, a woman. And when I look back, these remote view skills come into play, able to view what it is and see into the mind of this demonic being. And it was a witch. I saw a flash. I went right into her mind. I saw a flash of this elderly woman in normal clothes, regular clothes as an older lady. And then I saw a flash of her in all black and a witch hat. But I saw further in her mind. I also saw an older white male in normal clothes, older. These are elderly people, seniors. I saw him in regular clothes, and then I saw a flash of him in a warlock type attire. And he had this robe on, this warlock type robe. And then instant, I was able to move again. And I saw into her mind, and I began to understand that she was there on my back because I could take her places. She didn't have the power to do what I can do. She didn't have the power to astral travel. She didn't have the power to take flight and go into these upper realms the way I could as a kid. And she would get on my back and she would ride me to these places that she would like to go. But as I began to fight back, as I began, see, when you're a child, you can be manipulated by these dark forces. A child's third eye is always open until they are told what you're seeing, what's going on is not real. But in fact, it is. We as spiritual beings are extremely powerful, and a child's innocence can be manipulated These forces, this is why they always tend to go around children. And then they go around these children and trick them into contracts. Everything is done off in contracts. Because of your free will, they cannot violate or go against God's free will that he has already installed in you. They cannot break that free will. And if they try, that's when the angels and these guardians come down and they handle them, because there are laws that cannot be broken. Now, God does allow consent. If you consent, then yes, even as a child, if you consent to helping them in any way, they will use that. They can use that. But it's all, and I think God allows that so that we can learn from it, so that we all can learn what's really going on, so that we can all get back to knowing not only the past, the present, and the future. I think we're all here to change what's going on, because evil, it runs rampant. You can see it in Hollywood. You can see it in the music industry. You can see how the news media manipulates. It's all programming to keep you docile, to keep you in fear, to keep you giving your free will away. You have free will, people, and you also have the power to fight on a multitude of spiritual levels. They keep you working. They keep you programmed through school. They keep you sick through the pharmaceutical. And they hold back your ability to evolve through tech. We're still using fossil fuel. Come on. You get these guys that come out with spiritual people that incarnate, that have the knowledge to bring us all up, to give us free energy. And what do? It's either, it's either the military that come in and try to buy them out, keep them suppressed. And if they can't buy you out, back in the day, if they couldn't buy you out, they would try and eliminate you. They would threaten you. But that crap ain't gonna happen anymore. Times have changed. We got our soul families here. We got our galactic brothers here of the positive light. You got dark ones, and you got the good ones, the positive ones here. Don't think that, we are just the center of the universe and humans are the only thing that's out in space. You got to be a moron to think that God only created the human race. We are a hybrid race. The Anunnaki came here. The Anunnaki did not create us. They only tinkered with the genetic of the humans that was already here. And then there was other ET races that came here as well. And they changed the dynamic. They added their strand of DNA. Every animal, every insect you see, it's already out there. Dolphins. There's a dolphin race out there. The lyrans, the feline beings. It's already out there. Everything you see here is already out there. The mantis beings, the Mayans, and of course, everybody know about the reptilians and how they go from galaxy to galaxy and they try to suppress. They got their shapeshifters here. They got their genetic strand, the HR negatives, the human hybrids. It's all true, people. But we'll get into that. I had my run in with them, and they got their ass kicked because as I got older, I got stronger. Mind, body, and spirit began to work as one. But I'm gonna keep this video right up under 30 minutes. And I'll give another video and like I said later, we'll get into the military, how I help the military. We'll get into the good stuff a little bit later. I want you to understand me from the beginning to the end. My next video, we'll talk about the reptilian attack. How they saw me awakening and how they tried to stop me. And these attacks, they didn't stop. It wasn't just one attack, there were several attacks. But we'll get into that the next video. I am married now of 21 years. I have 3 beautiful children. I have 5 altogether. They are watched over, they are loved. Last year, there was a treaty of truth that was signed. And these negative forces know that if they ever break this treaty, we will collect that karma immediately and we will send them back. We in this era of time where truth cannot be suppressed in humanity. No matter what truth you have, let it be valid. You speak it without fear, without repercussions of being harmed. You are being watched over. The source warriors are here, and they are woke. They know, they see. So speak your truth. Speak it. No matter how small or big it is, you begin to speak and help people and wake them up. Do not be afraid of what others think of you. Your soul is eternal. And this is just another small step in this human evolution. If we are quiet, it's not because of the dark forces anymore, it's because of you. Step up. And remember that you are loved. And I love each and every one of you. Enjoy your day. Until next time.